Preparing for MBA exams can be overwhelming with so many concepts and questions to cover. That is why I have curated this video containing 5 of the most repeated questions in the term and examination along with their answers. Yes, this video is designed to save your time and boost your confidence. How did I make this list? By carefully analyzing the past term and examination papers so that you won't have to start from scratch. Don't have enough time to go through this whole video to find out the answers? No problem. Log in to www.anusclassroom.com and purchase the concise, revision-friendly answer scripts that I have prepared for these 5 questions, ideal for some serious last-minute learning. Describe the nature and scope of business environment. How does external environment influence the performance of an organization? To answer this question, I want you to imagine that you are running a business, say a cafe. One day, a new competitor could open another cafe across the street, and the next, the government may change the tax rules, and suddenly, everybody might want oat milk or almond milk instead of regular milk. So, that is your business environment in action. It is constantly changing, it is dynamic, and also a little unpredictable. The nature of the business environment is that it is never static, it is always dynamic, it keeps on evolving due to customer preferences, technology changes, or even global events. And its scope covers everything inside as well as outside your organization. What are the factors that are there inside? Inside the organization, also called as the micro environment, you've got things like suppliers, employees, customers, and such. These are close to your daily operations. And outside, or in other words, the macro environment, you have got the bigger forces like political changes, economic trends, cultural shifts, technological advances, demographics, and global factors as well. These might seem distant, but they indirectly shape your strategy. Now, how does the external environment affect the performance of your organization? Let's look. What about the political factors say? Imagine there is a sudden hike in import duties. Then your cost is going to rise and your profits are going to shrink. Say take economic factors like in a recession, people are going to spend less and your sales might dip. Take socio-cultural factors. Think of how health conscious trends boosted the salad industry or hurt the sugary drinks industries. Take technological factors. New tech can make your product outdated overnight. Remember what smartphones did to the point and shoot cameras, or what mobile phones did to, um, not mobile phones, you can't say, OTT platforms did to the CD DVD business, or CD did to the VCD, the videotape business. What AI is doing now, right? Coming to the next factor, that is demographic factor. Think about an aging population. They will increase the demand for healthcare products. Take global factors like international trade deals or conflicts. It can disrupt your supply chain. Right now, with the H-1B visa restrictions that Trump is imposing all over India, the IT organizations who had this H-1B visa process, now they are rethinking. Right, it is affecting us. So, what is the takeaway here? The takeaway is that businesses cannot control their external environment, but they can adapt to it. And what is under control? It is the internal environment. So, smart organizations will scan their environment regularly. They will adjust their strategies accordingly and stay one step ahead of changes. So, in other words, you don't wait for the storm, but you carry an umbrella with you. Or in Malayalam, we say, ഓടുന്ന പട്ടിക്ക് ഒരു മുഴം മുമ്പേ എറിയാം. Hey, if you're enjoying this session, take a quick moment to subscribe to Anu's Classroom and turn on notifications so you will never miss an update. Your likes, shares, and even a super thanks or sticker are little boosts of encouragement that help me keep creating and growing this channel. You got any questions, ideas, or suggestions? Drop them in the comments. I love hearing from you and I'm always here to help however I can. Now let's head back. Discuss the major components of balance of payments. When is the balance of payments said to be in equilibrium? All right. So the balance of payments, or BOP in short, is basically like a report card of our country. What is there in the report card? Instead of our report cards, which will have our grades or marks, the BOP will have the report of all the economic dealings of that country with the rest of the world over the past year. So you can think of it like, a bank statement, but instead of just say our shopping or salary spends, it is everything that our country earns and spends abroad. This BOP has three main components that you have to be aware of. Can you recollect? First is the current account, second is the capital account, and third is the financial account. So, what is in the current account? It is the day to day transactions. It records the exports and imports of goods, services like tourism or IT outsourcing, income from remittances from, say, relatives abroad, and unilateral transfers such as foreign aid, all of these things. So, say your cousin in Dubai is sending money home, then that will come as part of the current account of India. Then coming to the capital account. So this deals with transfers of capital asset. It will include things like migrants moving their savings when they change countries, or transactions where ownership of asset will change hands. So it is actually smaller than the other accounts, but still it is also very important. That is the capital account. Then the third is financial account. So this one actually captures all the big investment flows like foreign direct investment, or portfolio investment in stock or bonds, loans, and other capital movements. So if a foreign company buys a stake in an Indian startup, then it is going to show up in the financial account. Now, when do we say this balance of payment is in equilibrium? Simple. When the inflow of foreign exchange matches the outflow, it is in equilibrium. Net balance is zero. If more money is coming in than it is going out, then it is a surplus. So it is a bit like having extra cash at the end of the month. But if more is going out, then it is a deficit. Then it is time to tighten the belt. Right. So, but now here is this twist that you should be aware of. No country has a permanent surplus or deficit in their balance of payments. Short term ups and downs happen all the time, but what matters really is the long term balance, because this is what reflects a stable and a healthy economy. So, the balance of payments is basically like a health check for a country's international financial position. Keeping an eye on it helps the governments plan the policies and businesses make smarter global moves. Explain the need for foreign trade and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of foreign trade. Highlight the recent trends in India's foreign trade. Okay, so let us talk about foreign trade, which is basically countries swapping goods, services, or even capital. So it is kind of like exchanging. You remember in school we used to exchange lunch boxes, right? But here we are exchanging goods and services or even capital on a massive global scale. So that is foreign trade. So why do we need this foreign trade? Well, not every country is blessed with all resources, correct? Like, for example, India, it imports crude oil because producing it locally at scale is not feasible for it. So countries also follow this idea of comparative advantage. That is, they specialize in what they are best at. Foreign trade also gives access to larger markets and economies of scale, meaning if you make more of something, your cost per unit will fall. And of course, you can sell it, and with that, it will bring variety. Without foreign trade, your smartphone or your favorite chocolates might not even be here. Do you think Apple's iPhones will be available without foreign trade? No. The Big Billion Days sale, the Great Indian Freedom Festival, the reign of iPhone Pros that happened, nothing could be possible without foreign trade. Now, coming to the advantages. First, yes, you get access to resources and technologies that you cannot produce locally. Second, economies of scale. It makes production cheaper and more efficient. Third, it increases variety for customers. or consumers. Think about how we enjoy Italian pasta, Korean electronics, or Swiss watches, right? Fourth, it creates jobs and it drives economic growth as well, especially in the export oriented industries. And fifth, foreign trade often accelerates technological advancement by sharing ideas across borders. But the point to note here is it is not all sunshine and rainbows. There are disadvantages like job loss in domestic industries, which cannot compete with cheaper imports. Here, there is over dependence on other countries. So imagine, let's say, if global oil supply stopped overnight. Chaos. Correct. So trade can also harm the environment through pollution as well as resource depletion, and it might even cause cultural homogenization, where local traditions are going to fade under the global brands. Lastly, it can also widen income inequality if only certain groups benefit from the trade gains. Now, what is happening in India's foreign trade? Over the last 2 decades, if we check the data, India's exports and imports have grown dramatically thanks to economic reforms and as well as improved competitiveness. In parts of this 2020, India even recorded a trade surplus of about 13.6 billion US dollars, which was a very rare phenomena compared to what has happened so far. But then what happened in 2020? Came COVID 19, and that disrupted supply chains and slowed the global demand. But even then, India's overall trend is actually pointing towards a more globally integrated economy with strong potential. Now, the bottom line that I want you to take away from all of this discussion is that foreign trade is vital for growth as well as innovation. But if we have to reap the rewards of this foreign trade while avoiding pitfalls, then countries have to manage their dependencies. They have to protect their environment and ensure that they are doing a fair distribution of benefits. What are the reasons for business organizations to be involved in corporate social responsibility or CSR activities? Highlight some of the CSR initiatives of Indian companies. Okay. So, what is CSR or what is corporate social responsibility? It is a concept which basically says that businesses should not just make profits, but they should also give back to the society in which they operate. So, you can think of it as companies doing the right thing, but also realizing it's good for business. So, why do companies bother with CSR? Obviously, the reputation, the brand image, right? That is the first main reason. A company that plants trees or funds education, it looks far better to consumers like their customers as well as investors. Won't you rather buy from a brand you trust to be responsible? Cruelty free brands. Any girls listening to this? Yes. Do you, when you purchase your makeup, uh, do you look for cruelty free brands? It is definitely a incentive for you to purchase from them rather than something else, right? Say you are finding two products, same quality, same price range. One says cruelty free or one says vegan. Chances are that 90% or even at least 50-60% people will gravitate towards the cruelty free thing. So it is like, why not purchase that? Because anyway, I'm going to spend the same amount of money. So let a little bit more what you can say good karma come to me by purchasing that, like that we think. Correct. So that is it. The first and most important reason why companies bother with CSR is reputation and their brand image. Second, risk management. You're addressing social or environmental issues using CSR, and that proactively helps to avoid scandals, protests, or strict government penalties. Think Tata Sons, very very strong in CSR. Third, cost savings. Sustainable practices like energy efficient manufacturing or waste reduction, all of these can cut costs. Right? CSR is not simply charity, it is a smart strategy. Have you heard about, I think it's called Vitara, right? Reliance Industries, where they have an elephant shelter. Have you thought about what could be the reason apart from being, what you can say, protecting nature that they might have? gone for such a initiative? You should think about it. Yeah. Then the fourth is long-term sustainability. Businesses depend on healthy communities as well as ecosystems. And if these collapse, then their future growth is also going to collapse. So they know it. So that is one of the reasons why they go for CSR. And finally, but not the least, compliance. In India, the Companies Act of 2013 makes CSR spending mandatory for large firms. So for some companies, especially the larger ones, it is the law. So they are putting their money on CSR. Now let us look at some of the Indian examples. I've already talked about a few while we were discussing about the reasons, but let us look at some more. Okay, let us take the example of Tata Chemicals. They set up the Tata Chemicals Society for Rural Development way back in 1980, and they have spent over 25 crores in the 2018-19 time period to uplift the rural communities. Tata Steels, they work on water conservation, they work on healthcare, education, skill development. Basically, they uplift the entire communities around their plants. You must have heard, right? Um, so, a small, what you can say, personal insight. So, my first company was TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. Um, so, when I joined there, um, I got to know that, like, when I said to one of my relatives that I've got placed in TCS, uh, they literally said to me that, excellent beta, I am glad that you're joining a company like under Tata's, because one thing is for sure, wherever Tata set up their office, the whole area is going to get developed. Why is that image there? It is because of their strong CSR initiatives. Okay. Now, another example, Unilever Limited. It runs Project Shakti, empowering women in rural areas to become entrepreneurs, distributing their products. They also focus on hygiene, nutrition, and climate action. Similarly, you take Adani Group, invest in renewable energy, in water management, community development. They are aiming for carbon neutrality by 2035. Not just Adani Group, I think almost all the major players have that aim. By 2030 or 35, they want to become carbon neutral. Also, you can take a look at Reliance. They also have a lot of CSR initiative. A lot of firms have CSR initiatives. If you are working in one, then definitely you can dig a little bit, try to find out what are the CSR initiatives that your company is going. Okay, so recently, if you go, no, like especially in the Kochi area, while I commute to Info Park for my job, I can see that recently they have launched a project Oppam. There are multiple areas where that there are what you can say bus stands and all popping up. Recently, I think I forgot. Recently, even Rajagiri Institute put up a bus stand near one of the metro stations. I can see in the HMT junction, um, Toyota. Along with Toyota have created a very modern looking, very what you can say out of India kind of bus stop is there. It is also under the initiative of Project Oppam. So like that. So these are all the companies participating in the CSR initiative. So if you have found out any CSR initiatives while while you commute for work or anywhere else, do let me know. Do let our community know about it in the comment section. It will be helpful for all of us, especially while if we have to write any examples about CSR activities around us, then it's going to help us all. Okay. So, the key takeaway that I want you to have from this discussion, from this answer discussion, is that CSR is not about charity, it is about creating shared value. Companies that genuinely care about society not only help people and the planet, but also they build stronger brands, they reduce risks for themselves, and secure their future growth. Discuss in detail the structure and working of the money market. Okay, let us break down the money market. What is money market? It is a place where short-term borrowing and lending, borrowing as well as lending both in the key word here is short term. Short term borrowing and lending happens. That is money market. So you can think of it as the economy's cash, let's say pit stop. Okay, quick loans, quick repayments, and lots of activities to keep the financial engine running. The money market deals with instruments maturing in less than a year. That is why I said short term, less than a year. So it is all about liquidity here, making sure there is enough cash that's being circulated in the market. It also balances surplus funds. That is, say maybe people or firms may have extra money. Okay, then they can give it to the deficit funds. That is, firms that need quick financing, and they'll get it back also within a year. Okay. Plus, it gives the central bank a powerful way to control the interest rates and money supply as well. So, what is the structure of this money market? There are seven major things happening in money market. First is the call or the notice market. This is where banks borrow or lend overnight or maybe even up to a week. Interest rates here can fluctuate a lot. So it is kind of like, surge pricing in ride sharing apps like Uber and all. If it is a peak time, then if it is, say, the office leaving time or the office logging in time and all, you'll see that the rates to certain places, especially where most companies are there, surges rather than in the off hours. Right, so it is kind of like that. The interest rates in call or notice market is kind of like that. It fluctuates a lot. Then the next is commercial papers or CPs. Large companies issue these unsecured notes for a period of up to 270 days to raise quick cash. Treasury bills or T bills in short. These are issued by the government. They are short term securities. They are safe, they are reliable, and they can be sold through auctions by the central bank. Then comes the repo market. Here, securities are sold with an agreement to repurchase it later at a slightly higher price. So basically, it is like a short term loan using securities as collateral. Then comes certificate of deposit. This is issued by banks, and they are also short term deposits to attract funds. You can think of them as tradable fixed deposits. Then comes interbank money market. Here, banks lend and borrow among themselves to manage daily liquidity needs. Then comes forex segment. This deals with short-term foreign currency requirements. So these are all the components or the structure of the money market. How does all of this thing work? Surplus funds will be there. Say a corporate has some extra cash with them. They will lend it to someone, another corporate or another entity who needs that some amount of fund. Like maybe it could be another business or it could even be another bank also. If the demand for fund is high, then interest rate will raise, making the borrowing more expensive. And if there is excess liquidity, then rates are going to fall, making the loans cheaper. Meanwhile, the central bank comes in, buying or selling securities, adjusting the repo rates, or tweaking the reserve requirements. The central bank steps in with their control mechanism so that the system is kept stable at all times. So, in short, money market is the economy's short-term cash hub. It ensures businesses, banks, and even governments can quickly get the funding when they need it, while also giving the central bank a steering wheel to guide the economic stability of our country.